Mexico Questionary History Pre-Columbian period. Ancient civilizations such as the Olmec, Maya, and Aztec lived in Mexico before Europeans arrived. Spanish conquest, 1519 to 1521. Spanish explorer Hernán Cortés and his allies conquered the Aztec Empire. Spanish colony, 1521 to 1821. For 300 years, Mexico was a colony of Spain, called New Spain. Independence, 1821. After a War of Independence, Mexico became an independent nation. Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848. Mexico lost about one-third of its territory to the United States. Reform War and French Intervention, 1857 to 1867. Internal conflicts led to a French invasion and brief French rule. Porfiriato, 1876 to 1910. Dictator Porfirio Diaz ruled Mexico for about 34 years. Mexican Revolution, 1910 to 1920. A revolution led to a new constitution and major reforms. Modern Mexico, 1920 present. Mexico underwent economic and social development, becoming a democratic nation. Geography. Location. Mexico is located in the southern part of North America. It's the third largest country in Latin America, after Brazil and Argentina. Boundaries. To the north, it shares a border with the United States. To the south, it borders Guatemala and Belize. To the west, it has coastline along the Pacific Ocean, and to the east, it has coastline along the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea. Climate. Mexico has a diverse climate, ranging from tropical to desert. The coastal areas are typically hot and humid, while the inland highlands, where Mexico City is located, have a milder climate. The northern part of the country can experience very hot summers and cold winters. The Yucatan Peninsula in the southeast has a tropical climate. Topography. Mexico's landscape is also varied. It has coastal plains, deserts, like the Sonoran Desert in the northwest, high mountains, including the Sierra Madre mountain ranges and the volcanic axis, and rainforests, especially in the south. The country is also known for its beautiful beaches, particularly in tourist areas like Cancun, Cozumel, and the Baja California Peninsula. Biodiversity. Mexico is one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. It's home to various ecosystems and a large number of endemic species. Major cities. The capital, Mexico City, is one of the most populous cities in the world. Other major cities include Guadalajara, Monterrey, Puebla, Toluca, Tijuana, and León. Natural resources. Mexico is rich in natural resources, including petroleum, silver, copper, gold, lead, zinc, natural gas, and timber. Natural hazards. Mexico is prone to seismic activity due to its location on several tectonic plates. It experiences earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, from volcanoes such as Popocatépetl and Colima. Additionally, the country can face hurricanes on both Pacific and Atlantic coasts. Government. Mexico is a federal republic and, consequently, it does not have a monarch or a queen. However, the Constitution ensures that the power to govern Mexico is divided by 3 branch offices. These: presidency, Congress, and courts. Education. Basic structure. Mexico's education system is divided into several levels: preschool education, educación preescolar, for children aged 3 to 5. This is not mandatory but is available to all families. Primary education, educación primaria. This is compulsory for all children aged 6 to 12 and is divided into 6 grades. Secondary education, educación secundaria. This is also compulsory and lasts for 3 years, typically for students aged 12 to 15. Upper secondary education, educación media superior. This includes general high school, vocational education, and technological education, typically for students aged 15 to 18. Higher education, education superior. This includes undergraduate and postgraduate studies at universities and other higher education institutions. Administration, the Secretariat of Public Education, Secretariat de Educación Pública, SEP, is responsible for setting national education standards. Challenges. Mexico's education system faces several challenges, including disparities in educational access and achievement between urban and rural areas, between the rich and poor, and between different ethnic groups. There has also been criticism of educational quality and teacher performance. Reforms. Over the years, various education reforms have been implemented to improve the quality of education and to make it more inclusive and equitable. For example, reforms have sought to improve teacher quality, increase school autonomy, and strengthen evaluation systems. Health system. Mexico has a mixed public-private healthcare system. The public system is a mix of several programs, and the private system offers care for those who can afford it or have private insurance. Public healthcare. The public healthcare system in Mexico is primarily made up of two main providers: the Mexican Social Security Institute, Instituto Mexicano del Seguro Social, IMSS, and the Institute for Social Security and Services for State Workers, Instituto de Seguridad y Servicios Sociales de los Trabajadores del Estado, IST. IMSS. This covers the vast majority of the formally employed population and their families. It's funded by contributions from employers, employees, and the federal government. OIST. This covers government employees and their families. For those not covered by either IMSS or IST, the government launched the program Seguro Popular, Popular Insurance, in 2003 to extend insurance coverage to the uninsured, primarily the self-employed, informally employed, and unemployed, which was replaced by the Health Institute for Well-Being, INSABI, in 2020. Private healthcare in Mexico is available and is commonly used by the middle and upper classes, often in conjunction with public health insurance. Some Mexicans opt for private insurance plans, which provide access to private doctors, clinics, and hospitals. Many of these offer high-quality care, sometimes on par with facilities in the United States. Despite its efforts to improve access to healthcare, Mexico still faces challenges, including disparities in access to care and health outcomes between regions, and between different social and economic groups. Languages. Mexico is a country with a rich linguistic diversity. Here are the main languages spoken in the country. Spanish. Spanish is the official language of Mexico and the primary language of the vast majority of the population. Mexico is the most populous Spanish-speaking country in the world. Indigenous languages. Mexico recognizes 68 national languages, 63 of which are indigenous. This makes Mexico one of the countries with the most linguistic diversity in the world. Some of the most spoken indigenous languages include Nahuatl, Yucatec Maya, Mixtec, Zapotec, and Tzeltal. However, many of these languages are at risk of disappearing. Foreign languages. English is widely spoken in tourist areas and among the educated population. Other languages, such as Portuguese, French, Italian, German, and Chinese, are spoken among immigrant communities and foreign residents. It's important to note that while Spanish is the most widely spoken language, the Mexican government recognizes the country as a multilingual nation and is committed to promoting and protecting the use of all national languages, particularly indigenous ones. Ethnic groups. Mexico is a diverse country with a rich cultural heritage and a wide range of ethnic groups. The majority of the population is of mestizo, mixed indigenous and European, ancestry, but there are also many indigenous peoples with their own unique cultures and traditions. Some of the largest ethnic groups in Mexico include indigenous peoples. There are over 68 indigenous languages spoken in Mexico, with the largest groups including the Nahuatl, Maya, Zapotec, Mixtec, Totonac, and Otomi peoples. Mestizos, Mexicans of mixed European and indigenous ancestry, to make up the largest ethnic group in Mexico. Afro-Mexicans, descendants of African slaves who were brought to Mexico during the colonial period, primarily in the states of Veracruz, Guerrero, and Oaxaca. Arab Mexicans, people of Middle Eastern descent who migrated to Mexico in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, primarily from Lebanon and Syria. Asian Mexicans, people of Asian descent who migrated to Mexico, primarily from China, Japan, and the Philippines. European Mexicans, Mexicans of European descent, primarily from Spain and Italy, who played a significant role in the colonization and formation of modern-day Mexico. Economy: Gross Domestic Product, GDP. Mexico's GDP is one of the largest in Latin America, with an estimated value of around $1.3 trillion in 2021. It is considered an emerging market economy and a member of the G20. Trade: Mexico has a very open economy with strong trade links to the United States and Canada, as well as with countries in Latin America, Europe, and Asia. The North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, and its successor the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, have greatly facilitated trade and investment in the region. Industries: the Mexican economy is dominated by the service sector, which accounts for around 60% of GDP. Manufacturing is also a significant sector, particularly in areas such as automotive, aerospace, and electronics. Agriculture and mining are also important industries. Labor force: the Mexican labor force is large and growing, with around 55 million people employed in 2021. However, the country has a relatively low labor force participation rate and a large informal sector, which can limit economic growth and development. Challenges: Mexico faces several challenges to its economic development, including high levels of inequality, poverty, and corruption, as well as ongoing security concerns related to drug trafficking and organized crime. However, the government has implemented various reforms in recent years aimed at improving competitiveness and reducing these challenges. Traditions and rituals: Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. This is one of the most famous Mexican traditions, celebrated from October 31st to November 2nd. It's a time when families remember their deceased loved ones and celebrate their lives. Altars, ofrendas, are built in homes and cemeteries, adorned with flowers, candles, food, and items that the deceased enjoyed in life. Las Posadas. This is a 9-day celebration leading up to Christmas, December 16th to 24th. It reenacts Mary and Joseph's search for lodging in Bethlehem. Each night, a procession of people goes to a different home asking for shelter, with the hosts turning them away until they reach the designated house for that night, where they are finally accepted, symbolizing the welcoming of Jesus. Questionary. This is a celebration of a girl's 15th birthday, marking her transition from childhood to adulthood. It usually involves a religious ceremony followed by a party with family and friends. Guelaguetza Festival. This is a cultural event that takes place in the city of Oaxaca, where the indigenous cultures of the region showcase their music, dances, and traditional clothing. Celebrations and holidays: Day of the Race, October 12. This day is similar to Columbus Day in the United States, marking the arrival of Christopher Columbus in the Americas. However, in Mexico, it's more a celebration of the country's mixed heritage. Day of the Holy Kings, January 6. This day marks the end of the 12 days of Christmas and commemorates the 3 wise men who brought gifts to the baby Jesus. Children traditionally receive gifts on this day. Constitution Day, February 5. This holiday celebrates the Constitution of 1917, which was drafted following the Mexican Revolution. Benito Juárez birthday, March 21. This day celebrates the birthday of Benito Juárez.